Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeremie Nadon. I help people quit vaping without withdrawal, willpower, cravings, or even the temptation to do it. If you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button. I upload videos just like this, helping you daily. But yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about how you can quit vaping right now. Like, many of you are probably itching to quit vaping as soon as possible. You're probably past the point where you see it as something that's like sexy or cool, and you see it for what it really is, right? You see it for a nasty drug that keeps you enslaved. So today I want to talk about some things that helped me quit sooner rather than later. And looking back, these things are what I wish I had known when I first started trying to quit, that helped me a ton when I finally quit. So guys, also make sure you watch to the end of the video here, because I'm going to be giving away my quitting vaping series. So yeah, just stick to the end of the video and I'll show you how to get that. So yeah, so number one is go within. And I'm not talking about spirituality in this video, but I will talk about the importance of being the observer in your body. Most people who are trying to quit are just mindlessly trying again and again and again without actually observing why they're caving in, why they're relapsing. They're just using more and more force, but they're pushing on the door when they should be pulling. They're using the wrong method. They're not observing what they're actually using force against, right? Work on observing the physical sensations you feel when you're craving nicotine. Where is it actually? Don't try to resist it and distract yourself. Do actually the opposite and try to pinpoint exactly where you feel the withdrawal. And it usually goes away after you do this. There's a saying, what you resist persists. So yeah, guys, just really try to focus on where it is and focus in on that sensation. And you'll find that, usually it just feels like being slightly empty. So number two is use power instead of force. So on the topic of pushing on the door when you should be pulling, focus on propelling yourself towards being free of nicotine and running downhill instead of a painful climb uphill, right? Doing this is as simple as tipping your internal scales of perception in one direction that favors you instead of big tobacco, right? So when humans make any decision, they weigh the pros and cons in their mind, not always consciously, but sometimes we do and we're not even aware of it, right? So the same thing applies when you're quitting nicotine, as every relapse is, basically a decision, right? It's a decision to go buy another vape, right? Your brain, weighs up the pros and cons and decides to go after, buying another vape, right? So when you're quitting, your battle is your fears of what will happen if you quit versus fear of what will happen if you don't quit. So removing the fear will basically turn it into a downhill jog. Easy to quit, right? And it's not even about like lying to yourself. It's about seeing through the illusions that the addiction has put on you. It's really about being based in truth, right? For example, some people think that they'll never be able to cope with stress again and their life will be just chaotic without nicotine. But nicotine only creates more stress. It makes the good days bad and the bad days worse, right? Because of withdrawal. You're constantly going through withdrawal every 15 to 30 minutes, right? And that next dose of nicotine only relieves it by about 90%, right? So you never actually have the amount of stress. You always have more stress than somebody that doesn't vape, right? Nicotine is a stimulant. It can't reduce stress. It only increases it, right? Your life would be less stressful without nicotine. Boom, one fear removed, right? Most people have around 20 of these, and I got a quiz in the description you could take. Just open it in a new tab and make sure to finish this video because you want to get that vaping series too. Number three, you want to embrace the identity. I see some people who are trying to quit who still own vapes, and I just know it won't be long before they relapse again. And some people literally think the right way to quit is to have your vape in front of you and to resist it with all your willpower. Willpower is measured, scientists have literally been able to measure this, by the glycogen in your brain. It gets diminished as the day goes on, and scientists have literally been able to measure this, right? So for example, people who are racist are more racist later in the day. And judges, they've also done studies. If you have to go in front of a judge, you better hope it's in the morning, because judges will pass harsher sentences later in the day. It's literally because of the brain glycogen. So that's not a good approach, right? Just relying on willpower. It's not a long-term approach. But also, does somebody who doesn't vape or is a non-vapor own a vape or keep one in their pocket? No. Burn the ships. Embrace being the person you would be today if you had never started vaping in the first place. Imagine you had never taken a single puff. Instead of being a vapor trying to quit, be a non-vapor, somebody who doesn't do it. Like, embrace that identity as a person, right? do everything now that they would do, or this, the second you decide to quit, right? About 30 days before I quit, I started priming my brain for this through the power of just repetition, right? If you repeat something enough times to yourself, your subconscious starts to believe it, right? So I'd tell myself, like, I'm the king of discipline. My only addiction is with things that are good for me genuinely. I think I also said, like, I'm addicted to meditation, right? I love breathing air and only air, right? So on and so forth. But basically, I'd repeat these things to myself like hundreds of times a day, right? And eventually my subconscious started believing it. And this was before I ever quit, right? So it just made it that much easier when I did quit. And it was incredibly helpful in creating those root level changes in my identity leading up to the quit. It's important to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. Your subconscious will only interpret the subject, not the negative. Right? So that's why I say, like, my only addiction is with things that are good for me genuinely, or I love breathing air, and not I love that I am free from vaping, right? Or I love that I don't vape, right? Because if you say, like, I'm free from vaping, your subconscious will interpret it as I am vaping, right? And that's not what you want. Basically, just focus on what you want, not what you don't want, right? Where attention goes, energy flows. So, so those are like 3 things that have been really key to help me quit. And so I know if you do these things too, it'll help you as well. But yeah, if you want access to my quitting vaping series, go to the bottom of the description here. There'll be a link to a YouTube playlist. Watch each of the videos in order, guys. That's very important. And and then also it'd probably pop up on the screen here at the end of the video. So anyways, that's it for today's video, guys. Like I said, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I upload a video like this every day, so you don't want to miss it. If you're serious about quitting vaping, you don't want to miss these videos. So anyways, I will see you in tomorrow's video, guys.